Thanks to Cupid and her ridiculous fear of the wind, we are holed up in the closet today for this one. I want to talk about the 20 or so books that I would like to read for spring, and by spring I mean April, May, and June. For this TBR, I want to have at least 3 books from my physical collection, one that I really want to read, one that's more like a read it or unhaul it, last chance to read it, and then one the commenters on my TikTok picked. I want to read any advanced reader copies that need to be completed. A lot of them have spring publish dates, so I want to get those out of the way ahead of time. I want to make sure that I include any book that's for a specific reading vlog. Of course, we'll also have 3 books from the Weird Strange Literary Black Girls book club. There's a Kurt Vonnegut book for a book club in person that I want to join locally. And then the last kind of things that I want to make sure are on my TBR are finishing out the Percy Jackson extended universe. I have 1.5 Nico Diangelo books to finish, and then I believe 3 Magnus Chase books. I'm also going to be very intentional to not request any advanced reader copies for the foreseeable future, because I want to kind of keep my summer clear and open, because I would really like to do a reread of The Hunger Games. I was doing a video series reading Sedating Elaine on TikTok and Instagram, and then I started a new job and like it all kind of fell apart, so I really do want to finish that book. That's something that I have a physical copy of that I own, so that will be the one that I really want to finish. Sedating Elaine, I'm already like 60% of the way through, and it follows this woman named Frances, and she has gotten herself into this relationship that she really she just should not be in it. And it's in the genre of like woman going through it, but what makes it interesting is that instead of breaking up with her girlfriend Elaine, who she just does not like, she finds her too bubbly, too annoying, too personable, too in your face. Instead of breaking up with her, she decides to start sedating her, as the title of the book states. And then for the TikTok one, let's go to TikTok and see what was the consensus. 1 for Razorblade Tears, 1 for Kitten Tits, -1 for Kitten Tits, 1 for Sunburn, 1 for Sunburn, 1 for Razorblade Tears, 1 for Kitten Tits, Razorblade Tears, and like a neutral for Kitten Tits. If I do the math for that, I think it's Razorblade Tears. So that's fun. In my last video, I just said that I wanted to read more thrillers. So, and based off what I think I know, I think it's a thriller. So Razorblade Tears, from my understanding, is about the fathers of a gay couple who was murdered, and then their fathers link up to go on a quest for revenge. A few years ago, when I was first getting back into reading, I really built up my collection with a lot of secondhand books, which I love and I still do, and I still support that. However, early on I hadn't really had a grasp on what I wanted to read as an adult, so there was a mixture of picking things that I would have liked when I was a kid, or just the advice of friends, or just anything that like remotely caught my eye inside of half-price books. There's still a decent amount of those books that I haven't read, and I know that it would be totally fine to just unhaul them, like to put them in free libraries, to put them on Pango Books, to give them away to friends. Any of those options would be fine, but something inside of me will not let the books go until I at the very least try it, because I'm like, what if that could have been perfectly my thing, but I haven't given it a try. I don't know, like I can't let myself unhaul it unless I actually give it a try. So we need to pick one of those books where I probably won't like it, but I am gonna try. Now, we are too cozy in this closet for me to go get my TBR jar to do a pick, but I have a shelf on Goodreads that has most of my owned books on it since the last time I updated it, which was probably like 1.5 years ago, but that's perfect because those are probably the books that I need to get rid of the most. What if I pick like the least likely thing that I would want to read? Because there are plenty of them that I do think that I will love, or I know that I might love, but I still just haven't gotten to those. I more so for this want to pick books that I don't think I'd like, so that if I don't, we can just move on and get it over with. Oh gosh, this one book that I just picked up, I'm looking at the reviews There's just a lot of recent reviews from adults being like, Jesus, this is just one of those books that does not translate well to an adult mind. It's called The Daughters, and I know that I picked this one up because it seemed like some of the things that I used to like when I was like 10, 11, 12. It follows the lives of the daughter or daughters of celebrities, which I used to love, like teen dramas in Hollywood, like that kind of thing. I remember there was a series that I read where it was a teen girl who was in a TV show, and for years I've been trying to figure out what that was and I cannot find it anywhere. So this is one that I probably won't actually finish, but I'm gonna do the work, do the first 30 or 50 pages, and then unhaul it if that's what it comes to. So that's pick number 3. Let's talk about the arcs that I want to read in spring. First we have Molka by Monika Kim. This is Monika Kim's sophomore novel, After the Eyes Are the Best Part. Our main character is grappling with a scandal in Korea when a video of her is captured using hidden cameras. Next we have Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. Last year, Kylie Lee Baker's Bat Eater and Other Names for Corazang was my first 5-star read of the year, and also one of my absolute favorite books of the year. This book intertwines the stories of 2 characters separated by 150 years. Maybe there's a ghost. There's like samurai. Also, somebody murdered their roommate. Just a lot going on. Then we have I Love You Don't Die by Jade Song. A young woman with a curious preoccupation with death moves through life, polyamory, and depression, etc. Then we have Nerve Damage by Annakeara Stinson. Now this one I was not familiar with the author at all, not familiar with the book, but it was available for read now, and the description seemed really interesting to me. So it's a debut novel which follows a woman who, 3 years after getting a restraining order and moving across the country, believes that she sees her unhinged ex at a nightclub, despite all the people in her life telling her it's not him. Then for the TBR, there are going to be some books that are just going to be strictly on audio, and those books will be the Nico Diangelo Duology, and then also the Magnus Chase books. Then we have books that I need to read for specific videos, and I really need to finish reading the books for the beauty vlog, and I think I might have to reread Youthjuice. So books 12 through 16. So we have Ravishing by Eshani Surya, Rouge by Mona Awad, Natural Beauty by Ling Huang, If I Had Your Face by Francis Shaw, and then Youthjuice by E.K. Sathue. The last batch of books that we have are book club reads, which we pick them 2 weeks prior to each month, so I don't know what the May and June books will be. For April, we have Junie by Aaron Crosby Eckstein. And then, like I said, for May and June, we don't have those books picked out yet. And then the Kurt Vonnegut book that I want to read is called Slapstick. Now, unfortunately, I've already strayed from the TBR. It is April 4th, and I started reading the Villains series by V.E. Schwab. I started the second audiobook today, and it's not going to get in the way of the rest of the TBR because I will definitely finish this very soon, and then the third book isn't even out yet, unless I get an arc for it.
I'm also going to be very intentional to not request any advanced reader copies.
These are the 20 or so books that I want to read for April, May, and June.